I could ask you questions.
And then you could ask me.
And then we could just let it take on a life of its own.
Or we could just leave.
We could get up and leave the room.
Boom, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba. Boom, 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 boom. So there's a song we have called Danny California, which I think is going to be the first single. And Danny California is a character. It was in the By the Way song.
I didn't realize it at the time, but when this funky groove came up, it struck me as a perfect place to actually tell a story. Like sometimes I think it's much more interesting to just tell the beginning of a story and not finish it. You know, in a song, it's like get it started and let it just go wherever it wants to go, wherever people want it to go. It's more interesting to not give a story a beginning, a middle, and an end in every song.
Right.
It's kind of confining.
Right.
Just leave it open.
Yeah.
Suggest. But with this one, I felt like this is going to be a cool story.
Right.
And I started writing. I was like, oh my God, this is about the girl that was in By the Way, Danny. And then I realized that Danny in By the Way was about the girl in Californication, the teenage bride with the baby inside. And so it, it sort of revealed itself to me that it was, it's been the same character, just kind of developing.
Well, I knew that she was from By the Way, but I didn't know she was from California.
Yeah, I didn't either until I took a look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I really like the way when John came in with that melody for the chorus. The way that it overlaps against the music is really different than...
It's different.
Different than like the way my brain would ever think of something overlapping with a piece of music.
Or Chad's for that matter.
Yeah, it's a real unique thing.
Yeah.
I've been listening to this, the first Wu-Tang album, End of the 36 Chambers, pretty much every day for the whole writing of the record. I was inspired by especially by the rhythms that the MCs were using in their raps. They were inspiring to me in terms of my guitar playing, and I was really inspired by the way that people like Jizza and Method Man and Raekwon and all those guys, they don't just go in a straight rhythm, straight according to how the drums are. They make up their own groove in the music, and I was really into the idea of a lot of rhythmic expression for this music. One night I was just sitting here, doing my usual thing of, I was playing along, like either bass or guitar along with that record, and then I thought to myself, why don't we have a song with that drum beat, and I'll just make up some chords right now to fit into that drum beat, and so that was where those chords came from. And even though the chords were written in order just to put some chords to that basic drum beat that's all over that first Wu-Tang album of boom boom ch, boom 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 ch, boom boom ch, boom 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 ch. What ended up happening was not really that different from like Sweet Home Alabama or something. Like, even though
I think Wu-Tang was very influenced by Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Running through the fields where all my tracks will be concealed because it's so white as snow. Like there's bound to be some snow to come and cover up those old tracks that you made up.
Once again, it was John came up with all those guitar parts, those beautiful guitar parts.
That verse guitar part is insane.
That sort of thing where you're going like that kind of Jimi Hendrix like rhythm technique or whatever, but it had been done the way he did it a lot, and so doing it the way I did it on this song was just a different approach. So it doesn't sound like Jimi Hendrix, but in essence, it's not that far from home.
I taught John that lick, actually, and he took it from there, but it was, it was the seed.
And then we built a song around it. We all started doing our thing. And
that's the cool thing about that song to me, is that John came in with, to the naked ear, what sounded like a very rhythmically complex piece of music. Almost like some kind of flamenco business. And like, how are you going to work bass drums and vocals into something that's already so dense?
Right.
But we really all found quite quickly our place within that really busy canvas,
Yeah.
That's where the song really gets written, is when each guy like adds his own flavor to it, Because in so many cases, I have no idea what the actual groove's going to sound like, even though I have a guitar part, you know.
It feels very cleansing. It's a cleansing number.
What's it about?
It's about the repeated failure to start your life anew, you know, and about, you know, how difficult it can be to get rid of old ways of thinking and old destructive ideas that we become so attached to.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't think that we could actually go forward without, in some way, keeping hold of this old way of thinking.
Yeah.
But that really, once you get rid of all of those old ways of thinking, you kind of start off with the blank canvas. You know, how freeing that is, and how it really does allow you to open up and be a free man. It's
epic. It has just that big, huge outro, you know. I remember when it was almost funny in rehearsal when we were first doing it outro.
You were laughing out loud.
Well, it was hysterical.
How about Anthony when we first did it?
Because you were just like, oh yeah, oh now, oh yeah.
I still laugh whenever Anthony starts singing that, hey, ooh, yeah.
And we were doing it for, like, you know, 20 minutes.
We wouldn't stop doing it.
For hours. You were just like, oh yeah, oh now.
I was feeling it.
Yeah, you were feeling it.
I was feeling it, and you looked over at me and just started howling. Like, oh my God, that guy's feeling it!
He just busted out with the extremely manly, like...
It was, Brad, that was like the first thing he did, too. Yeah, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Oh, yeah.
In Stadium Arcadium, I mean, being the title of the album, it has such a universal big feeling, and so music is a universal, beautiful thing. We're embodying and embracing all of it.
That's right.
And that's what we aspire to do, and that's a great title for our album.
Quite specifically, the imagery involved is that of a group of people out in the middle of nowhere, listening to music together in the middle of the night, creating a light which is reflecting the sort of heavens above. Because that song is really about connecting to people by way of music for the sake of honoring the universe and feeling connected to the universe.
Cool, because that's how it makes me feel.
That's what it's about.
This is one of the few songs, ladies and gentlemen, that actually, I think, may have started out with my illustrious drum beat.
I walked into rehearsal out there in the San Fernando Valley, and John and Chad had arrived first.
I come in, I just happened to be the first one there that day. I sit down at the drums. Out of the blue, I just start playing this beat. John comes in. Hi, John. Picks up his guitar. Boom, 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 ding, boom, boom, bing.
The sound was so big, and sometimes Chad and John have this weird brotherly connection that's very strong.
Yeah.
You know, they can get inside of each other.
Yeah.
And I heard that happening, and I was like, wow.
Those chords and that guitar part in the verse, they couldn't have been more obvious to do over what he did from my standpoint. It seemed like I was just highlighting something that Chad had already created, you know.
You know, it had that sort of reverberating massiveness of the guitar, and I just knew it was a song. I was like, what you guys are playing at this moment is a song.
Yeah.
And no, there was no question that it wasn't going to be like, okay, let's go to work now.
Yeah.
That they had already gone to work.
I look at him after a little while, I go, that sounds like a song. He's like, yeah. I go, what is that? He goes, I don't know. And that's how it happens. And then take it from there. Next thing you know, Flea comes in, starts playing, and it's a beautiful process.
It's just one of those things with making music with people where you really start to sometimes get the feeling that the music was already there before you walked into the room, you know?
I think in that case it really was. Because you know what, when I came in, like usually I come in, I'll play, and I'll like, whatever, just like, kind of just go around the drums, and I remember that day I just came in, and I don't know why I hadn't been like, hey, I got a great drum beat. I just came in and just that's the only thing I played, and I was probably there for like 3 minutes before John came in. So literally it was like that music was waiting for us just to come in and channel it. Yeah. I mean, it was, and that's the only thing that he played when he came out. He didn't go wham, wham, he went boom, 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 boom. It was like,
I just walked and picked up the
guitar. It was like someone gave us a song. Someone literally gave us a song. Yeah.